Hello. Welcome to the Apollo Podcast, a school-run podcast where we interview a myriad of guests about the future of our industry. Today we have John Monahan. Welcome.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Happy
Now,
to be here.
if you want to start, just introduce yourself.
Yeah, my name's John Monahan, John Carter Monahan. I go by Jonahan sometimes. It's an old nickname I had since high school. Just mash up those names. Live in Wapakoneta, Ohio, and I guess we'll get to the rest. Lead me. Where do we want to go? Yeah.
All right. So our first question is, okay. So you're known locally for riding a one-wheel and playing guitar. How did you get that idea, and what's the craziest reaction you've had to it?
This is a good way to start. Yeah. It's fun, right? I got a one wheel, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 years ago, and it looked cool, and I instantly loved it, right? Like, I love, skateboarding and wakeboarding and stuff like that, and I've never really snowboarded, but they say a one wheel is the closest thing to snowboarding on dry land, right? You're just kind of floating, and you can carve back and forth. Well, anyway, I was working at Phone Doctors as my business, and I was commuting, quote-unquote commuting, on my one wheel. It was just a few blocks, right? So I'd hop on my one wheel, get there, like, really nice commute. But I got to thinking, I wanted to practice guitar. It's kind of funny. It was kind of silly to say I wanted to practice guitar. Could I do this on my way to work and multitask and, ride my one wheel and learn how to play while I'm doing that? So, I don't know. I just like to maximize my time, right? You only get so much time in the world,
Right.
time in the day. So I didn't think much of it. I didn't plan like, oh, this is a cool thing. I was just literally doing two things I liked. I was playing guitar, riding my one wheel. And then I literally had like a light bulb. I was like, wait a minute. Like, I could use this. I could use this in a show. So, it was a couple years ago in Wapak. We had a party in the park. I don't know if you guys have been there, but it's a beautiful thing, right? We have 4 or 5 of these shows. So I got to open up for another band. And I had my debut of the one-wheel guitar experience. So what I do is I set up my looper pedal, right? I'll, record the rhythm. I'm not sure what I was doing. It might have been, Breakdown by Tom Petty or some song that... an easier song to play, I suppose. And then I went out around the park soloing, weaving back and forth in front of people. And I don't know, it was just a really good feeling. And there's something about maybe distracting your mind from the normal, everyday stuff. It made me a better guitar player because you kind of have to not think too much because you're thinking about riding the one wheel, right? So, I guess it's something I've become known for. And it's definitely unique, and okay, to the second part of your question there, was there any good, wow moments from that? Yes, there was. When people see you doing something that they've never seen before, their eyes just kind of light up, and they smile real big, and so here's the story. I was playing at the INOH State Line Bar, and it's literally right on, the border, and it's in a spot where there's no Wi-Fi, there's no cell service, and there's a lot of Amish. So there's a group of Amish girls, young girls about 16 years old, all in their Amish dresses, and they see this guy come around the corner on a one-wheel playing a guitar in a kilt like this.
Right.
It's going, wow! And you should have seen they were just like, they saw an alien. They're like, oh my God! And they're clapping.
Oh, wow.
So, and that makes me feel good, right? If I can make people smile and feel good, and I'm lucky any day I get to do that. So,
Wow.
yeah.
That is a really good story.
Thanks, man.
Wow. Yeah, that's so cool. The music, you like guitar playing, stuff like that. You write about music for the Wapak Daily News. So how does writing about music, how is that different from performing?
That's a good question. It's both the act of creation, right? But it's just in a different way. I've been a writer much longer than I've been a musician, or, I've done it more, I suppose. It's not as instant, right? You put it out there and it goes in the paper. It may not go for another day or two. And really, you don't get a lot of feedback, right? This isn't on Facebook. You don't have comments. You put it out there in the paper. And this is old school, right? Like, papers still exist, and I'm glad for that. But it's definitely an older subscriber base, right? So you don't get that feedback. You put it out into the universe, and you hope that it's going good. And I have gotten some good feedback from it. And that's really nice when someone stops you when you're walking down the street and says, hey, really cool article,
Right.
It's not like it's not like when you're playing a show and you get that instant feedback or that instant. Sometimes people don't clap at all, and then you're like, "Aw." But it's not usually that they're not listening. It's, people are in a bar, they're doing their own thing, they're talking to each other, they're having a good time, they're unwinding. I guess I'm just saying, if you're a musician, don't expect that you get applause every time. Don't feel bad
Right.
about it. It's probably not you. It's just, it is what it is. They're not paying to go see you, so, yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, I see that. Yeah. Because okay, so just on that music route, writing about music, are there any like local artists or music scenes in Ohio that you think deserve more attention right now?
There's a lot of great music around here, and that's how I got my start, was from the open mics around here. So, yeah, I would say around kind of like Grand Lake, Indian Lake, at least that's where I perform or hang out a lot. Lima, too, has a really good, I would say more like metal around Lima.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Hardcore metal, which isn't my jam necessarily. I dig it. I can enjoy some of it, but there's some bands like Polycrisis. I can give some shout outs here, right? Can I do
Right.
that?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
sweet. Lamania, there's a lot of good talent, and these guys are writing their own stuff, right? Not just cover bands, and that's what I dig. Like, cover band, that's great. If you're doing that in a bar, awesome. If you can cover a song like by the Eagles or whatever, kudos to you. Like, I dig that. But I guess me personally, I'm more of a fan of original music.
Oh yeah.
Or a cover that goes a certain way, right? Like, make it your own. I'll do some other shout outs. Local girl Natalie Ulanok. She's out of, I think, Fort Recovery. I could be wrong. She moved down to Nashville. She's a friend of ours in this area, and she's making it. It's
wow.
her living down there. Another friend of ours, Lauren Rissmiller, great country artist. She's a good really, really good songwriter, and that's one of her goals too, is to move down to Nashville. So I could go on and on and on, but there's tons of great music around here. And I don't know what it is, if it's in the water or what, but like, you go elsewhere and there's not quite as much, or maybe it's like the bars and venues don't support it as much. I don't know, but it seems like there's a lot. What do you think? Is it different around here?
I don't know. I think I don't obviously have a lot of like experience of other places, but I do think maybe it's sort of, especially in kind of this area, not as much to do. So I feel like a lot of people kind of turn to the creative side of stuff, to writing, art, music, and I think a lot comes out of that, especially in the area.
I can dig that. That makes sense, yeah.
Yeah.
That was always, they joke about, I'm from out of Wapak, Canada, right? Neil Armstrong went to the moon. They said there was so little to do in Wapak, that's why he wanted to get the heck out of Ohio to the moon. So there might be something to that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. All right. So, talking about inspiration, stuff like that, was there any one song or one album that kind of changed your thoughts on like how to make music or just music in general?
That's a tough one and a good one, right? Because it's like, I hate that when someone asks, what are your favorite movies? I don't know. I love a million movies. I love a million songs. I love all the different genres. I love all the different albums. But I guess I would, there's a lot of albums I guess I could point to, and I go towards the guitar-oriented rock, right? Like the classic rock, like Jimi Hendrix is my number one. Eric Clapton, these guys that took the blues and made it a little faster. And then the 90s, you had Alice in Chains, Soundgarden, STP, these bands, great songwriters, man, great guitarists. And then that goes into the 2000s as well. I guess I'll throw Rage Against the Machine in there. Audioslave is one of my absolute favorites. Chris Cornell. And then you can get into like Chris Stapleton. Chris Stapleton is an amazing songwriter, and his works have spanned like all these different genres. Like, I don't know if you guys know, I'll kick a little music knowledge like Chris Stapleton didn't just come out of the womb being Chris Stapleton with this big beard. Like, that would be weird if he popped out of the womb like that. But he learned through these other bands. Like, he played with, what was the name of the band? It was a bluegrass band. Steel Drivers, the Steel Drivers. So he learned bluegrass there, all those different kinds of instruments. Before that, he was in a band called the Johnson Brothers, which was like hardcore, straight-ahead rock, which for him to be in a band with these other two dudes that were the Johnson Brothers and Chris Stapleton's like third billing or whatever,
right.
But my point is, he took the time to learn in these other bands, right? And that's what I encourage all you guys to do, all you young ones, to get into some place and learn. Get your foot in the door, learn. You don't have to be there for 5 years or 10 years, but when you get into a career, when you get out of college or whatever, you may not know that you really want that job, right? So you're just experimenting, learning, and learn everything you can from that place, add it to your talent stack, move on to the next thing, right? And that's what Chris Stapleton did. He learned, he made albums, he wrote, he learned from these other songwriters. I'm sure he learned riffs, he learned scales, he learned, how to put these songs together, how to produce. And then when it was time for him to go solo, he's like, look at all this stuff I have at my disposal. I could create this or that or this or that. And that's why when you listen to one of his albums, he could have blues, he could have country, he could have rock, he could have anything, man. I almost cussed. I didn't. You guys don't have to do too much editing, but I feel passionately about Chris Stapleton, and he actually share the same birthday with him, April 15th.
Oh, nice.
So I like those little connections, but yeah, hopefully that answered your question. But it's any type of music, right? Aside from death metal. I don't love death metal, but
no, yeah, that's great. I feel like, especially with the more younger generation, a lot of people who are creating things are very worried about about perfection. Like, they want their first things to be what they imagine in their heads. And I feel like more people should realize that a lot of your early work should be experimentation and learning how to grow so you can create what you want later on.
Amen, Wyatt. That's 100% awesome. That's what I've learned. That's what I feel, because that prevents you from doing things. If you're trying to be a perfectionist, yeah, you want it to be good, but as a writer, as a songwriter, as a musician, as somebody that likes to improv, that's what I learned was you get to let go of trying to be really perfect at something. And in that's where you get that good stuff. That's where, yeah, just throw the stuff against the wall, see what sticks. You can always revise, you can always keep editing, but as far as with writing, you just create, you put it out there, and at some point there's a deadline and you have to stop and submit it and say,
yeah,
that's good enough. All right. And I'll do better next time, So yeah, just keep going, keep trying. Don't ever stop. Don't limit yourself. I don't know. I'm rambling, but yes, guide us to the next, where do you want to go?
Amazing. Okay. So you've been running Webcore for years. So how did it start, and how has web development kind of evolved and changed since you started?
Yeah, it's changed a lot. So I've always kind of been into computers. I've always been a geek. I was always into Apple, and so I was doing websites since, 95. I'm an old dinosaur, I really am. But so I could tell you, the history of how things changed. But 2013 is when I quit my job at Multimedia in Minster. Great firm. It was the best job I ever had, but I realized I had to do something different. And I didn't know what that was until later, and I kind of hit myself in the head, oh yeah, you need to do your own thing, right? So I guess I took all those lessons I learned from Midnet and my previous jobs, and I went out on my own. And I'm still doing web design, although that's a lot less of what I'm doing. Now I'm doing more phone repair and some gigs here and there, and the writing. I used to DoorDash quite a bit. I wrote a book about DoorDash, but tips and tricks about that. And that's just another thing of just throw something out there and see if it sticks. I don't think I've even sold any books, but at least I did that, right? And I learned how to do it. Losing my train of thought here. Bring me back to, what was the question we were on?
Talking about you running Webcore?
Web design.
Yep.
Web design, yeah, it's gotten so much easier these days, right? With Wix or these page builders.
Yeah.
I use Webcore with Divi, and that's really easy. It's it's a GUI editor. It's almost super stupid and simple to make a website these days, right? You just turn it on, you go, and for better or worse, it seems like more things are going to Facebook and these other social networks, and the web is kind of going to the side, which I don't love, but it is what it is. I guess you still, I don't know, you tell me, do you guys still think websites are virtually important in this day and age for a company or for a personal, for your person? You can set up a social.
Yeah. But I think so. I'm very old, I kind of prefer the older tech internet stuff, so I'm a little biased, but I think we're at a point now where social media is kind of used to guide people to these websites because most of them won't take the effort to find them on their own.
That's a good point. And social networks can always shut you down. That's happened before to people where they just turn off your profile because you happen to say the wrong word or something.
Right.
They own that content. So it's nice for you to have that central place where all your stuff is owned, and you can point to that, right? So still use the socials, but and most people can create their own websites, which I don't know. I guess WebCore's. I'm anti-selling myself in WebCore. I should be selling WebCore that will build you a website, right? But the point is, you can pop on and do something pretty easily. And I use, what is it called? I think it's called Linktree, which is like a place where you can have all your stuff that just, here's all my stuff, and you can link out from there.
Yep.
So there's still going to be a home for like roll your own applications, like websites that do specific things for specific tasks, like whatever your business is, like, I don't know, like a trucking company where they get to actually sell their routes for trucks. So for someone to be able to log in, I'm kind of going deep on this one. That doesn't really matter, but I'm just saying there's specific niches for these different websites, custom crafted things that more things are going to an app now, but I don't know. It's a complex thing, and these technologies can be rolled into one, right? Where you build it for a website, but it's also an app, or I don't know. It's a whole different world for me that everything is on these things, right? Like, what is it? 60 or 70% of people are surfing on their phones,
right? Not
on the computer, which I brought in my laptop. Like I said, I'm a dinosaur. I like to be on a bigger screen with the keyboard, and I'm like, you youngins with your thing, I'm a geek, and I get into the new tech, but I'm also kind of old school. And,
I definitely agree. There's definitely, I think, I don't know if centralization's the right word, but a lot of websites and a lot of services that websites offered are kind of being combined into these bigger things to now where people use 3-4 things or go to 3 or 4 different places rather than having this whole disposal that people used to have to go to.
And can I kind of ask you a question or
go
a different place? So
definitely.
Because with technology, and I want to know how all of you guys feel, but like as we're getting more addicted to our devices and we're, it's not healthy physically, mentally. Do you think it's becoming an issue? Like, is it a fight for us to be able to be like, no, I'm going to turn my phone off today or for a few hours? Or, and my example is at Phone Doctors, we get people that bring in their phones to repair. Usually it takes about an hour to fix a screen or something like that. But then sometimes there's something more going on. Like there may be a motherboard issue or we don't know what's going on. So it might take 2, 3, 4 hours, or they leave it overnight. And these clients will say, at first I was driving down the road, John, I couldn't even find anywhere. I was like, I didn't know how to do anything, I didn't have my phone. I felt naked. I felt lost. And then by the next day, they were like, no, you know what? It was great. I didn't have anybody calling me. Nobody texting me. I felt free. And it was seeing this, it's a repetitive pattern, right? Of like, I don't know, I guess just a reminder to set these things aside, set all this aside, because I play Fortnite, I do all these things, and I don't know, it's just important to go outside, breathe in the air, smell the, just chill, enjoy everything, be in the moment a little bit more.
Right, no, definitely. I agree. That's something personally that I had issues with, over-reliance on social media and those kind of online connections, and then it is worth just going outside and just taking walks. I still listen to music, so I'm not completely barren from the device, but it's definitely like, I think it's gonna become more an issue in the future, especially with the newer generations who are growing up with these hyperactive, tech-focused, short form, all this stuff. I think more and more people should learn that, like, you gotta take breaks from it eventually. You gotta be able to distance yourself from it.
Amen, brother. Yeah. And I can let you get to it. Jump in with any questions. I'm easy. We can go anywhere. But AI, do you want to talk about AI?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Okay. Because I feel like so many people are afraid of it. Like I see a mascot on Facebook, and I love it. I use it as a tool. Our Cameron Brown over here that's behind the camera, he kind of got me going on Chat GPT years ago. And I use it as a tool. I pay for it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like we use it to diagnose phone issues, you know. You tell
Right.
it what it is, and it does it so much faster than a search engine can do it. So I guess I'm seeing that change too, right? Where instead of going to Google, I'm using AI. And I think a lot more people are doing that. And it's just like you speak to while you're driving, hey, what about this, you know? And it can read it to you. That is going to change so much. Like, I don't know where your guys' heads are at, but like it just blows my mind. And I'm proud of your generation, and I'm excited to see where you take it because you're growing up in this. Like, I didn't have a thing that I could talk to that would answer every question. Although there was a book. I'm going to take a geeky diversion if you'll allow me for a sec.
Yeah.
There was a geeky book called The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Oh,
You ever
yeah.
heard? Yeah, you know it?
Yep.
Okay, that's actually I have a tattoo of it. That dude here. But
Oh,
I
awesome.
love it because it was that guide where it was this little device in his hand that he would ask it questions, right? It was like an encyclopedia, and now we have it. This is it.
Right.
So, but that changes things. That ability to always be on, to always ask anything, and it can be a little bit scary, but it's like, in my opinion, it's a tool. It's like fire. It's like a car. You could use that car to drive through a crowd of people. Horrible thing. I don't know why why I would say stuff like this, but like it is. It's as long as you're using it for good, I guess. And people worry about that Terminator thing, like it's going to take over, like Skynet, like. I don't know. I don't see that, I guess. There's so many safeguards. You can just pull the plug. Yeah, I guess. What do you think?
I don't know. Because it's such a complex thing, I feel like I can't help but feel mixed on it because I feel like I don't get being completely against it because, like you said, it's a tool. It's this big information bank. It's this big creative resource. I think that a lot of it is great, you know, using it for information and creation and ideas. But there is also that kind of darker side, like, you know, with, I think, AI, like video generation, how they're, you can barely tell the difference anymore. I think, like, it's just, it's really complex that there's a lot of good and a lot of bad.
There's going to be a lot of regulation and stuff like that. And I think you're going to be able to put, like, not timestamps, but there's going to be stamps within there where, hey, this is legit video, and it was shot by a certain phone. And unfortunately, there might be, like, you know, a digital ID or something like that. But we may have to have that where it's like, hey, this video was actually shot on this phone by this person. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. The world is it's a chaotic mess of all these new technologies coming out, and then there's going to be regulation and. I don't know. We live in interesting times. That's
Definitely,
for sure, right?
Definitely. It's. I'm excited to see where it's going to go, and I think at the end of the day, it's going to be very positive.
I think so too. If we view it as a positive, like we said, if you get out into the sunshine, if you use AI as a tool, you use your phone as a tool, not something that you're beholden to. Yeah. And we can get into phone doctors a little bit because it kind of all ties together, right?
Yeah.
That's where I get to use all of my skills where we don't just fix screens, but like people come in with like malware on their Android phones, or, you know, we get no offense to grandmas, but like a lot of older grandmas and grandpas that like just don't understand their devices. They're just like, oh, what's it doing here? I don't know why grandma sounds like that. But, I don't know. We're lucky that we get to just kind of guide people, right? If they have any issues whatsoever, it may just be like yesterday I had a lady that had pop-ups going on, and literally all I had to do was close the tabs on her browser, you know, and she gave me, I don't think I charged her on that one because it took me 2 seconds, you know.
Yeah.
We'll clean out people's charging ports because they're not making a good connection, you know, like, and it's just something, dude, that it puts me in touch with so many people, and I get to learn from people and help them, and it makes me feel great. Yeah, I dig it. And that's why I'm here, actually, because I met Cameron Brown years ago, and he helped me at Phone Doctors and suggested me to come in here today.
Oh, yeah.
So
Nice. So yeah, that actually answered my next question, but there was a little extra thing. At Phone Doctors, what's the most unusual fix you've made?
we've had a lot of fun ones. We've had farmers drop their phones in the barn and the cow steps on it, and There smells of manure. Yes.
Great.
We had one guy. This was one I'm proud of because not all phones are fixable. But this dude was. He was on his ATV, tooling around, going through rivers. It's going through the mud and stuff, playing, having a great time. He lost his phone, and he was able to pinpoint it. I think he used Find My Phone, and he found it in the creek. And he shook it out. I think it was like 1 or 2 days later. And really cool client, really nice family. But so I kind of shook it out, and I was like, dang, all right. I opened it up. There was muddy water inside the phone.
Oh, my.
Muddy water. So I cleaned it out best I could. I used, canned air. I let it all dry overnight. I put it in a dry bag with all these silica packets and stuff, and I prayed, said a little, please work device. And believe it or not, I kind of do that. I don't know if it works or not, but the next day I got it together. It was working. There was a few things like it needed a new SIM card reader, and a new battery, a new screen, etc. But the dude was beyond stoked because he had photos on there that weren't backed up. And to this day, I'm thankful. Like, holy cow, that worked. Sweet.
That is
so you
crazy.
get a win like that, and it feels so good. And I want to fix every device, but like I said, you can't.
Right.
But yeah, it's fun. Every day is something different. You never know what you're gonna get. So
that is crazy. Wow. Wow. Yeah. So this is okay. Going off here, it says so. Writing for the web, and again, compared to writing for the small town paper, you had two different audiences kind of there. How do you approach those audiences differently?
That's a good one. As I ponder that, I don't change too much, but like I said, the print audience is a little bit older, and you don't know exactly who you're reaching. So I guess I'm a little bit more conservative there. And on the web, on Facebook, usually just on my personal Facebook, I just put some free things out there. I can get a little bit wackier. I can get a little bit deeper because I am a wacky dude. But a little bit more freestyle, and still with the paper. I try to be loose and light and fun, but still you're a little bit more constrained, conservative. I don't know. Right down the middle.
Yeah. That makes sense. Okay. So you've had a lot of different jobs over the years. Which of those early gigs, I guess, taught you the most, kind of informed your future?
And I'm thinking about that. I have notes. I always have notes on my phone, right? Just to remind myself for this interview, for anything, I want to be prepared and be able to do the best I can. And I guess, I don't know. That's what I learned at my jobs. Like I said earlier, you learn from it. You do the best you can and you move on. And some jobs, I didn't always do that. I kind of looked at them like, oh, you should be paying me more money, right? I'm doing so much. And I think that's a bad attitude to have. I think you should give all you can to your current employer and learn from it. And I think people kind of complain too much, right? Hey, you got a good job. If you don't like it, you go somewhere else. Mm-hmm. But people like to complain. And I don't know. I guess that's just kind of a side note. Enjoy it, learn, because my attitude is all about positivity. And if you're going to complain, that's time that you're not spending making yourself better. Like I said, I worked at Multimedia. Before that, I worked at ComNet, or now it's called CNI, out of Wapakoneta. That was my first big boy job. That was from 98 to 2008, something like that. And I have a lot of great friends from there. It's run now by my buddy Aaron Holtz, who is probably the smartest dude I know. And I learned a lot from him. I learned from everybody there, right? You can learn from every single person on the planet, even, a homeless dude. They got some wisdom.
Oh, yeah.
Learn from anybody. So I guess it's a little bit less about the job and just knowing that no matter where you go, this is an ongoing growth mindset process, right? Just keep growing, keep learning, because you can do anything you want to do. Anything you set your mind to, you can do. My dad always said that. And I don't know if I believe that early on, but if you see somebody doing something, you can do that.
Oh, yeah,
right?
Definitely.
It may not be tomorrow. It might not be next year, but if you keep working, you're going to be there. So at least that's my mindset. And enjoy while you're going. Enjoy these jobs. Enjoy it, because it's not going to be forever. And if you're really not happy, well, figure out how to get happy. Figure out a different job, because, life is too short for that. So.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, I definitely agree. It's really nice. Okay, so living in Wapakoneta and coming from Hamburg, what is something unique about each place that again kind of shapes you?
I like the small towns. I like Wapakoneta. People, again, complain about the small town and that there's not a lot to do. I kind of like that. I kind of like Buffalo, New York. It's not a huge city like New York City or Chicago or anything, but 300,000 people, 500,000. I don't know exactly, but there's a lot more people, a lot more to do. But yet it's still down to earth, and that's what I love about both places. Is that people will bend over backwards for you. People are friendly. I don't know. I guess I dig that. You said the unique thing about Western New York compared to Wapakoneta or small town Ohio. I don't know. Maybe I'm a big Buffalo Bills fan, and it's the way that Bills Mafia parties and tailgates and jumps through tables, and it's like we'll have a good time, and that's maybe it's that. It's just a little bit less smack talk or being like, oh, our team's better than yours. It's like, let's just have fun. That's what I love about Buffalo and Western New York, and fingers crossed, knock on wood, that the Bills get more on track, because we would love for them to win a Super Bowl at the end of this year as they transition into the new stadium next year. But it's not looking that likely. But it's all good. It's just sports.
That is definitely, because I live in Columbus Grove, which is dreadfully small.
Okay.
I think 2,000 people. And because growing up, I was born in Seattle, so I've made a long kind of journey over here.
Okay.
It took me a long time to kind of adjust to that, and for a while I kind of resented that kind of small town environment. But as I've kind of matured, I realized that, they both have their places, and there's something kind of comforting about, like you said, there's the small town hospitality, the small town, everyone knows you even if you don't know them kind of environment. How old were you when you moved? So I was born in Seattle, and I barely remember that, and then I moved over to Montana. So I moved here very early on. I was like 6, so it wasn't a huge amount of time, but it was enough.
But still, you had Yeah, I remember that there was some culture shock, and I was used to Ohio because my mom's side of the family is from Salina, so I spent a lot of time here in the summers and Christmas and whatnot. But it took some getting used to. Like at first, I was like, I would get upset that people didn't go faster, drive faster. Like at stop signs, it's like, you're really taking your time at this stop sign. In New York, it's just like stop, go, or you hardly even stop. And it was like, I got to learn, like, no, it's cool. It's just a different speed. And isn't that kind of nice that people aren't in such a hurry?
Yeah.
So, yeah. And then I go back to Buffalo, and I'm like, wow, people are driving so fast. Slow down. So I've become inured or culturized or whatever you call it. So, like, I am of this area now. But I love it all. I don't know.
Yeah. No, it's all great. So this is kind of a deeper question. So in the future, when people think of you, what do you hope they remember?
Ooh, just that they remember me at all. That'd be cool. Well, you see, I'm sitting here wearing a kilt, and I ride the one wheel, and I don't know. I just learned to be myself and be free, because we don't know how many days we have, right?
Yeah.
I had some health issues a while back. I went through a lot of, you could call it heartbreak. I don't call it that anymore, but divorce or these other things that you go through at the time, you think it is life-changing, and it's the worst thing in the world, but really it leads you to where you need to be, If we get into astrology or horoscopes, I don't know how much you put into that, but it's like called a Saturn return, right? Where you have these events in your life that are chaotic and tumultuous, but they shape you and they make you a better person. Maybe make you like forged in fire or something like that. I don't know. But where are we going with that? I lose my train of thought all the time. What was that?
How do you hope people remember you?
Remember me. I guess as the one wheel guitarist. That would be cool. I have that uniqueness, right? Like that is unique. I know there's another guy in Atlanta that I saw that does it. I haven't seen him lately. But it's fairly unique, I think. Hopefully I inspire a younger generation of people to play guitar on their one wheels, but or do just crazy stuff, right? Like I saw Sheryl Crow once. She was in her rollerblades playing an accordion. I was like, that's cool. I want to see more stuff like that. And I guess if I could be remembered for something, it would be that, to inspire people to do to do stuff, to get off the couch, to create, to take things to different places, to take all the special skills you have, Wyatt, or you have, Cameron, or anybody out there, take them all, put them all together, and what do you got? What do you want to do with life? Make it really, really cool. And once again, I almost cussed, but I didn't. But you can imagine what I would say there, because really, really cool. Make life, I guess, well, it goes to rock life out. That is my motto. That's my, we have a web show that we're kind of getting going. We only had one so far. It's kind of backburnered, but the title of it is Rock Life Out. And the podcast, or the show that I hosted on K94 for a while out of Salina, was Rock Out Loud. So it's Rock Out Loud, Rock Life Out. Like, that's my motto. That's what I even have the license plate, Rock Life, and that's what I want to inspire people to do. So
that is great. I think, and I hope that there is a lot more of that too, because I think, kind of doubling back on what we were talking about earlier about the internet, is I feel like with that sort of access to more information, a lot of people who say they were alive in the 50s or the 60s, they wouldn't be introduced to the things they can be now. And I feel like a lot of people who, even in these smaller communities or wherever they are being introduced to these kind of nicher, more interesting concepts that are inspiring them. And I think especially as this generation, the next generation grows, there's going to be a lot of just new things and people trying new things.
Mm-hmm. I like that, and I think that's part of everything that we're talking about, right? Like to not shy away from technology, but to use it as a tool, not a crutch. Don't be afraid of AI. Use it as a tool. It's a tricky balance, right? I just don't think we can run away from the world. Yeah.
Oh, that's really good. Yeah. All right. So I think this is the last question I have on here. So how, just living in Wapakoneta, the smaller town, how's it shaped your approach to running a tech-driven business or businesses?
Well, I guess it's kind of goes part and parcel with the old self-help books like Think and Grow Rich or How to Win Friends and Influence People. I don't know if you're familiar with that one.
Yeah.
Dale Carnegie, that's a great one. It's timeless, right? It's almost 100 years old, this book. And that's what it's about, right? Like serving people. That's what I've learned from Wapakoneta. And I've learned that people are so cool. People are so cool. Like, I used to worry that if I mess somebody's phone up, they're going to get mad at me and cuss me out and sue me. Like, that's never happened. It's never happened once. We had maybe one or two clients that we've had to blacklist because they were jerks, but that was it. Out of thousands of people. Like, the more people I meet in this world, the more I'm amazed, and it goes against what we're shown in the media that, oh, we hate each other. Oh, this person's a jerk.
Yeah.
No, 99% of the people, you sit down, you talk to them like this, they're awesome. You might not get along 100%, but like, yeah, it's really good. Bringing it back to the phone doctors, I don't know. Yeah, Wapakoneta and the whole area, just kind-hearted people, good people, and it has led to a lot of hugs. Like, if you are open and you're like, hey, I'm not having a great day, or early on, like I said, when I was going through a divorce or these other things, and I didn't, I just needed some emotional help or something, and another client, we get to talking, and they're going through something too, and you're like, oh man, well, and then you end up having a hug, and then, like, I've made lifelong friends. I'll get a shout out to, like, my friend Jackie Prine. She was a client, and she has multiple grandkids that constantly break their screens. So she'll bring me about every 6 months or so. She's like, John, I got another batch. I got 3 phones for you. And we'll talk and we'll catch up and then we'll have a hug and, go our separate ways.
Right.
And we keep touch on Facebook. And I met her at Phone Doctors. It's phenomenal what business, like, I used to think business was a bad thing, like, to make money or, and that's like I guess you'd say like a bigger, corporate thing that, was this headless behemoth or whatever. But like at the local level, at the small levels, you can affect people so well. And another quick story was at Phone Doctors in Wapak. I say in Wapak, I'm in Wapak too, but just to bring it back, I mean at the original store. We had a shop downtown at 5 West Augleys. Now I do it out of my house, which it works great. But had a woman come in with her young daughter. It might have been like 10 or 11 years old, and we fixed up her phone. I gave her a free screen protector. I gave her a pop socket for free, And I don't know, I guess I just kind of brightened their day. And she left a glowing review on Google just saying like, wow, this is a cool example of, showed my daughter what a business can be.
Right.
And I was like, oh my God, really? Like, I'm just doing my thing. But I guess some people don't do it like that. And it goes hand in hand with making your business better, right? So if you're affecting people, I guess I serve, right? And jump in and cut me off at any moment, but like to serve someone, you serve, you bend over backwards, you help them as best as you can. If you can't, you give, well, try this guy, call this dude. We've got another shout out to Gabe Oakley. He's a friend of mine. He's an IT guy. He's also a part-time professor at Rhodes College, but he does like the Windows stuff that I don't want to do, and he does like the motherboard stuff. So it's like, hey Gabe, we got a guy over here. Can you go help him out? He needs help with his home security system. So it's like, point is, have these people in your back pocket that you can refer other people to, right? It's a network of stuff, and yeah, I don't know, reel me in, but it all ties together, right? If you serve, if you make people happy, it's going to help your business, your personal brand grow.
It's really making connections, stuff like that. It's really great. I say I that's the end of the list. If you want to make any closing remarks or
how much time we got?
I think just as much time as you have to say what you want to say.
I don't know. I had a few notes, but like, I'm thankful for this. I'm glad you guys are doing it. I'm looking forward to listening and following along and seeing where you guys go with this. Mm-hmm. I'm excited to maybe keep in touch. Cameron will maybe keep me posted on your guys' progress and to see what you end up creating out of this. Like, do you do other shows? Do you guys write books? I don't know. I want to see what y'all are doing. But a couple of things, if I can point you to them, if you don't mind, is things that I've learned from, books, right? Biographies.
Yes.
If you read, I don't know, anybody, let's just say Teddy Roosevelt's biography, right? You could, I like to listen to him on audiobook, right? There's only so much time in the day, and I love reading, but my eyes are getting older and they get tired and stuff. So you can go for a jog, take your dog for a walk, put that audiobook on 1.5 speed and just rapidly go through. And then you're getting the combined, consolidated thoughts of all these great people, right? What they failed from, how they became great, what was great about them. There's a podcast I love by John Lee Dumas. It's called Entrepreneurs on Fire, or EO Fire, where he interviews all these different business owners. They're like 20, 30 minutes each. You can crank through them, and it's like, I never completed college, you guys. I never graduated college, but I feel like I have a master's degree in business from all these things that I've listened to and learned and failed at, right? That's another guy is, what's his name? Gary Vaynerchuk, where he said, fail fast, fail faster, go faster, keep on failing, because the faster you fail, the more you're going to learn, and you're not going to fail then anymore. You know what I mean? As long as you don't make the same mistake twice. Don't step in the same river twice. Don't be afraid to fail. Love failure. Learn to accept failure as part of the journey. And then that's going to make you a much more well-rounded person. Yeah, I hope that I've given you guys some stuff, and I didn't get too crazy or go too many different places. Let me see if there's anything else on my list, and if there's any other questions, let me know. This is something I wrote down. I was like, when you're at the end of your life and you're laying on your deathbed or you're in that nursing home, I would put it out there to you, Wyatt, and all my friends listening here, like, wouldn't it be nice to say that you tried everything you wanted to try? Like, just try it. Like, don't have regret, because like, I didn't do this all my life. I wasn't a musician all my life. There were years in my 20s or whatever that was like, I kind of wasted them, and I don't really regret that too much. It was all part of the journey, right? I wouldn't be who I am if I didn't go through that stuff, but I'm just saying, keep trying, keep doing different things, and you never know what's going to shake out. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Brilliant. I think that's all I have to say.
Thank you, man.
I think this is great. I really appreciate you coming down, talking.
Thank you, brother.
I think I had a great time talking.
I had a good time too.
A lot of great things said, and I think that's it.
Real quick, phonedoctorsohio.com, webcore.me, webcore.me, yes, that's the domain. Johnny Guitar is something I've been calling myself. So you can follow me on Facebook, Johnny Guitar. I have a duo and fuller band we're building out called Southbound Revival. It's like a blues. It's this awesome blues rock band with my buddy Tim Sutton, who is out of Lima, actually. Southbound Revival, we're playing the end of the month here. You can find a bunch. We have a bunch of shows. I forget where all we're playing. I think Lakeside Hideout, south side of the lake. We're playing at Beckett's Burger Bar in Findlay. Yeah, I'd have to look at the list for the other stuff. But thank you guys so much for having me. Really, really appreciate it. It was a good chat.